Hello, this is Nikki Keohoho, CEO and co-founder of the DSWA and faculty member of the Coach Excellence School. I have with me today Autumn Lugo, and I am so happy to have you with us today, Autumn. Thank you for joining us for this call.
Of course. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, I'm excited to share a little bit about your journey and where you've been as a top leader in your company. First of all, I was excited to know you had 23 years with the same company. I really commend you for your loyalty. You've only been in one direct sales company, and it's the same one. And while you were starting this business, you had worked for the county while working your direct selling business. And now are you full-time in the business, Autumn?
I am. I actually have been going on 15 years. When I was pregnant with my daughter, we figured that paying somebody half my salary so that they can raise my child was probably not a good idea. So we just decided to make it work with working from home and build up the business from there. So she's going to be 15 next month, and I haven't been back to work since.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited because you have kind of experienced the DSWA in a couple of different levels. You attended a private Coach Excellence School, Level 1, with about 200 of your corporate team members and some of the executives as well as the field. And then later on, you went through the Elite Certification course. So let's start with what happened while you were in Coach Excellence School. So begin with, what did your business look like before Coach Excellence School in January of 2016?
I was struggling. I was at a negative 2% in growth, and my numbers were just low as far as earnings and amount of people on my team. Just not seeing a lot of growth overall on my team or from my team members.
And, you know, I have some statistics here that I think would be great to share, that your team numbers at that time, you were end of 2015, you were at 188. End of 2016, you had 361 team members.
Correct.
That's pretty exciting. Wow.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
what about
doubled.
your sales? Yes, your unit sales. What about that?
Yeah, unit sales more than doubled from the end of 15 to the end of 16. It was ending the cycle. That last campaign was about 19,000, and the last campaign of 2016 was over 46,000.
Wow,
for one
that
campaign.
is a big difference in kind of where you went from one to the other. The other thing I noticed was your first generation recruits, people that you personally recruited. And what was that difference from 15 to 16?
That also more than doubled. I had 107 to begin with and 228 at the end of 16.
So those are people you personally brought into the business. Congratulations, Autumn.
Correct. Thank you.
Those are pretty staggering statistics.
It was a fun year.
I'm sure. A lot to celebrate, that's for sure. So what was the biggest challenge or hurdle that you consistently ran into before attending the Coach Excellence School?
I spent a lot of time trying to convince people or to tell them what they needed to do to get where I thought they needed to be. And that obviously wasn't working for me.
So you were at a place where you were kind of holding on to the outcome, and it was your agenda more so than letting go of the outcome and letting it be their agenda.
Absolutely. I was focused on what my goal was and what I needed them to do to get me there. That was the plan.
And how was that working for you?
Yeah, negative 2% growth. That's how well it worked for me.
You know, it's interesting because what people think is that, you know, my job as a leader is to tell everybody what to do and get them to get it done and to get them where I think they can go because they have all this potential, and it ends up we drag people around and then they run out the back door. So I'm so glad you figured that out. That was a huge thing.
Yes,
and the
definitely.
The other thing around that is that when you were saying that you were telling them what to do, I know that through Coach Excellence we do a an online success disc profile. And what did you discover from that profile?
I found that I was a CD personality, which after taking that made perfect sense because I like to get straight to the facts and I like to solve problems and that sort of thing. And the emotional rah-rah spirit is not so much in my personality. So I had to recognize that and kind of start thinking about that when I was communicating with people, that not everybody is the same personality.
That was a big step for you because as a D dominant direct person, meaning that you're task-oriented and outgoing, so in other words, you like to call the shots, and that C behavioral style, which is the cautious person that is numbers and you're task-oriented and more reserved, that part of you, you're very task-oriented. And as you say, most people aren't just like us. So what I'm hearing you say is you learned how to communicate and to speak their language once you understood how you were communicating. And also, isn't it interesting on that profile that you get a piece that says, here's how others perceive me.
Right. And that was the part that was kind of shocking for me because it was almost flipped exactly opposite. So I was perceived the other way, but I saw that I was more of a CD after taking that, but that was kind of almost upsetting to me that I wasn't the way I was perceived, you know. So that kind of...
You were trying hard? Is that what was going on? You were really trying hard to be more of the rah-rah person?
Maybe. I don't know. But that's how it came out, you know, completely opposite, and I was very kind of concerned about that. So that happened. Experience was very, very emotional for me. Anytime you look at yourself and you see, you know, flaws or things that you need to work on, it's, you know, very eye-opening to say the least.
You know, the idea of that profile is really to bring awareness. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. It's just being aware of who I am, how others perceive me, and how am I showing up in the world, and how am I adjusting for other people. And I'm so glad that you had that awareness because that was a big part of your turnaround in 2016.
Yeah, I believe so.
Did any particular tools or modules jump out at you right away after you went to the Coach Excellence School?
Just more the idea of the coach versus trainer, you know, the more listening versus telling aspect. That was the main thing that I put into practice, I guess you'd say.
Because as we all know, in Coach School, there's 5 different subjects, 5 different skills. So you really worked on your listening and asking questions to be more connected with people, to understand them better, it sounds like.
Right.
And before, you'd say you were pretty good at the training side?
That was my main thing. When I would communicate with team members, that was my focus, was to make sure they knew how to do what they needed to do. Answer their questions quickly and get them back to business. It wasn't so much about, necessarily finding out why they were doing it a certain way or asking them any questions. I just wanted to answer their questions that they had for me without really getting anything deeper into it.
So what percentage of your time were you on the phone answering questions? I'm just curious.
A lot. I mean, a lot of people would, send me emails or messages and things like that. But I realized too that I wasn't taking the time to be the one to reach out first. I was quick to be there to reply, but I wasn't necessarily the one that was initiating those conversations. So what I found in that as well was those people that weren't reaching out to me, weren't necessarily because they didn't need help or have questions. They just didn't want to reach out to me for their own reasons. So by adding that part of follow-up from my side just to check in, how you doing, how are things going, that started a conversation that led to, oh, by the way, I also, was wondering about how to do this or that, So, building the relationship was also part of that, the lessons learned was building the relationships outside of the business.
Just being there with people without the agenda sometimes is a good thing.
Right. Yeah, not just calling to say, hey, your order is due or you need to pay your bill, but find out what's going on as to why they haven't placed the order or paid the bill.
So those reasons, to understand what's behind the curtain. That's what coaching allows you to do, is to find out what's really going on. And when you listen to people that way, it's like a whole new ball game with the type of communication that you have. So that was a big step for you. So, and another question kind of similar to that is, did any particular tools or modules create a real improvement within your team?
Well, just those two things in particular, the relationships and the coaching, and then the letting go of the results, that it's not my stress to hold whether they achieve their goal or not. I can want it for them, and that's fine, but I can't put that on me if they don't want it. So I think alleviating that stress from my responsibility, it gave the team overall more kind of relaxed atmosphere, because I wasn't getting upset if someone didn't place their order or someone didn't reach their goal this time or whatnot. It's just, okay, if this is something you want, let's refocus and set the plan for next time. Or, it was a lot easier for me to do that than just to get upset about anything anymore. It's just kind of learn to let it go a little easier.
Oh, isn't that a big thing? One of the big reasons that leaders burn out in our profession is because they feel like, oh, I lost another consultant, or I lost another representative, and they own that. Versus, you know what? We have responsibilities as a leader, responsibilities to train, to coach, to lead by example, to follow the policies, procedures. Those are our responsibilities. Yet the person is responsible for their own business.
Right.
You can't do it for them. I say they gotta wanna, because guess what? Sometimes, did you ever notice that you wanted it more than they did?
Oh, of course. That was my main problem before, I think. And that's something now I'm having to have those same conversations with my leaders as they're coming to me saying, this person wants to quit and I've done this, this, and this, and this for them. I said, you listen to what you just said. You've been doing it for them. If they don't want it, let them walk away. It's not on you, So having to share what my lessons learned, the same thing now with my leaders to understand the same things. So
you're able to pass it on.
Yeah, and I think that's been a big help to the team growing too, because they can realize that same thing, that it is not their responsibility to turn every person on their team into a success story. It's, you can guide them and coach them and do what you can, but if they're not going to want it, they're not going to do it themselves.
Do you know what I noticed in the past, and I know a lot of people in your company, because it was a low threshold to get started in the business, a lot of people would just say, well, just try it. You're not going to lose anything. Just see how it goes. And they kind of convinced people to join them.
Right.
How did you use those coaching skills in the process of appointing or recruiting people into the business? How did you do that?
Yeah, well, we still get that concern even for those that are interested, and they still tell us they don't have the money to join, even though the cost is low. And I used to, try to do the same thing as convincing them that, it's only this much, and you can do X, Y, Z to get there. But if somebody doesn't want to invest even that small amount to begin with, I don't think they're going to invest much into their business working. So a lot of times, when a prospect that I'm talking to, of course I'll just answer questions and ask them to. A lot of times they're coming to me with an inquiry, and asking them what brought them to look at the business to begin with. And, a lot of it is sharing my own story because I do have the longevity in the company. That kind of can overcome a lot of the concerns, but it's more about just addressing what they're looking for. And then, sometimes it isn't the fit, and I'm not afraid to tell them that anymore either, because I don't want to waste my time with someone who's going to waste my time.
Very good point. Here's what's interesting. People don't realize that when we chase someone to bring them into the business, here's the thing. When we seem desperate, desperation sparks hesitation in other people.
Right.
And if we seem desperate to bring them in, they either hesitate or they think, well, okay, I'll just do it so she'll stop asking me.
Right.
And
right.
Nothing happens. So you're right. You don't want to waste your time with people that are going to waste your time more later. So
yeah.
I've never heard anybody say that. I wrote that down. That was pretty darn good.
Well, good.
So, yes. So, as you've developed your business, and that first step for you was the coach school. So you just jumped in with both feet to come to that event and to learn and to be part of the group and actually practice coaching inside of the group, and you have your workbook that you can go back and follow up with. So I understand that really shifted your thinking. Then you went on into the elite certification course, where of course we have creating community, team building, business management, coaching, visionary planning, all the other, the whole management of your business. There were different types of things that you learned. What's interesting about that, Autumn, is that the business management portion of that certified trainer course, everybody's afraid to take it because they think it's going to be hard or it's going to be boring or whatever, and it's the highest rated module of all of them that we have. And there's 6. What did you like about that particular module? Whether it was the emotional management, environment, money, what sat out for you on that particular module?
Well, being that kind of goes directly with my personality, I'm all about management. So a lot of it was, things I was already familiar with, but it was more about, I guess, incorporating what I'm doing business-wise with my everyday life, and not making it just so much focus on the business 100%. Incorporating both aspects of family life and personal time along with business, and finding that balance between the two.
So another thing that you mentioned to me earlier was, while you were at the Coach Excellence School and we went through the Harmony Wheel and you saw how that impacted your life, tell me what you got out of that, because it was pretty profound for you.
Well, it was more the fact that how I was living my life today was not how I wanted it to be. The wheel was definitely out of balance, and I thought, if I want my life to be a certain way, why am I not living it that way? I needed to put it into the balance to do the things that I wanted it to be. If that's the way I wanted it to make myself happy, why am I not changing that? It's my power to change what I'm doing. So that was a big eye opener for me.
So the coaching on that is, how can I live my life differently? How can I match up my what my life looks like today with how I prefer to live my life, my values. And then
Right.
you took steps in that area, didn't you? You took some steps.
I did. I mean, I had to start, looking at my scheduling and put, priorities first. So, nights and weekends are for family. There's no, appointments scheduled after, a certain time during the week. And on the weekends, I have a business phone that is left in my office. I had to separate the two to find some balance there between business and family time and not intermix those two. If I want family life to be a priority, then I need to give it that attention,
Mm-hmm.
So that was a big part of it.
So that was probably one of your big takeaways, because the next thing I wanted to ask was, how did attending the Coach Excellence School impact your personal life? And along with that, what do you think people got, just that were in the audience there, for their personal lives?
Yeah, I think separating the business and personal was a big part of it, but the other part of it was just the eye-opening, the personality traits. It also allowed me to use those same theories with, the kids or, family members and things like that, and realize that their personalities may not be the same as mine, and most aren't. So, just in dealing with those personal relationships, the same thing. Their goals are not the same as mine as in daily activities. So, just opening up to be more, I guess, understanding and open to other ideas and, just overall in that aspect.
Autumn, that's so interesting, because every coach school, people say, I got just as much out of this from my personal life as I did for my business life.
Yeah.
And how Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing. Whether you're working with, conversations with team members in business as in team members with your own family. It's kind of the same aspect there.
Very, very true. So let's take a little step forward into all the things that have taken place with the Coach Excellence School, and then you started coaching your people. And what is your favorite coaching success story or stories? Somebody on your team that you coached, or it could be a family member too, that was a turnaround for that person.
There's been a couple. The one that I was so focused on in the previous year, she's still kind of in the same spot, but I've learned to let that go and she's doing her own thing and she's doing fine. But another one in the meantime has come up that really kind of embraces the coaching with me a little more, and she advanced 3 titles during this year. And what I loved most is at the end of the year when an incentive was announced, I'm usually always the first person, with my CD personality, plan that goal and the way to get there and tell them what they needed to do, right? But she actually came to me with her plan before I even had a chance to even discuss it with her. She came to me and said, this is what I'd like to do to meet this goal, and what do you think about this? And I was kind of like a proud mom, oh, she did so good. and her plan was actually quite impressive, a little bit different than I would have suggested for her. And I was impressed with the plan that she made for herself, and that she did make a plan for herself, So I thought, wow, this is actually kind of working here. If they're doing it on their own. Kind of what we want, right?
And here's what's interesting. I'm sure that you discovered this. When people make their own plan and design it with their life in mind, they are generally way more successful with that plan than they would be with somebody saying, here's your plan, now go do it.
Right, exactly. And what I love about the environment that this created with her especially is even though she's got her own thing, she knows what she's doing, but she will still come to me and say, hey, what do you think about this? Or, you know, in looking with her own team of who she's going to be working with and things, what do you think about working with this person? Or, you know, she still comes to me for advice. And, you know, I don't have to tell her, you know, work with this person or that person. She knows what to look for and just, you know, give her suggestions without telling her what to do. So,
well, if she's asking for it, yeah, it's very different than you just giving unsolicited advice.
Yeah,
generally,
for sure.
Unsolicited advice is not received very well. And we all know that people didn't join a direct selling company to have a boss. They joined a direct selling company to be their own boss.
Right.
Which is good. So now, as far as the elite course, you know that's a 6-month course and 6 modules, and then you graduate as a certified elite leader. And I want to ask, first of all, what did you enjoy about the process of the group modules, going through it with an online learning management system? What did you like about that?
I liked hearing, you know, like the live calls. It was easier than just, you know, sitting there reading through the materials on my own. And then the days where they would have the like the role
group
playing.
Coaching.
Yeah. So then we would get to hear from other ways of saying things, because that was a part that I was really struggling, and I still do at some aspects, of being the coach with, you know, asking the right questions or, you know, directing the conversation and that sort of thing. So that was helpful to hear different people, you know, on the calls each time, you know, that would maybe present it in a different way.
And here's the interesting thing about that I think is good for everybody. With group coaching, you get to be coached even if you're not the one that's actually being coached, but it's all going into your head and mindset too, those same questions. So lots of people can be served at the same time. Now that is a more advanced skill than coaching. Group coaching is a more advanced skill. We actually teach that in the advanced coach school. And because once people learn that skill, they can reach the masses. They can do more people at one time. So that you will get when you attend the advanced course. I was also going to tell at this stage of the game that in that certification program with the online learning management system, you can work at your own pace. But it's a year-long course that can be finished in 6 months. 6 modules, 6 months. So how did you feel when you completed that?
I felt like I was a better leader, you know, that I had actually learned skills to be able to communicate with my team better. And I do feel that it was advantageous to take that. And I did recommend a couple of my leaders that were eligible to take it to make sure that they jumped on board to get the same training.
Well, that's good, because that's how you influence your culture. When you have some commonalities, some common terms, some common approaches to things, you create your own culture within your team, and you obviously did that. So how do you see DSWA continuing to support you and your team?
Well, I like that I still have my workbooks and I can reference back to things, and, you know, it's always good to have a refresher, you know, and be able to look back at maybe some things I didn't catch the first time around, you know. So having that available is a great help.
It is, and that's one of the advantages of going through a program. You do have great materials that you can reference back to for a long time. And for everyone else, that all these skills, the true leadership development skills, are not generally a one-time. It's layer upon layer upon layer. So just as you attended, Autumn, a 2.5-day course, we have coaching in a 3-hour course. We can do a 1-hour introduction to coaching. We have it in webinar form. that is available to people, a 3-part webinar series. We do, in our Elite Live courses, we teach coaching for almost 3/4 of a day in that Elite Live course. But it's because what we know is most people, well, I've never met anybody that has gotten coaching in one time and really absorbed it and did it. You were wise to get 2 hits on it in a row. But it's an ongoing opportunity. And this year we're offering continuing education courses of people that have been in that Express Level 1 course and Level 2 and 3. They can continue to come back and take online continuing education courses because we know it's not a one-time. So I just want to say to you, Autumn, congratulations for your success. And I'm going to repeat this, so making sure everybody got it. Her unit sales doubled plus $8,714. Doubled plus $8,714. Her generation recruits, her first generation, people she personally recruited in a year, doubled plus 14. And her first generation orders, these are her personal recruits. What did they? In orders, they doubled plus 9 additional orders. That's significant. So you had a huge increase in 2016. And what you said to me was the big game changer for you was the Coach Excellence School and the Elite course. And we are just very honored that you were a part of the program and that you're continuing forward to be that leader of leaders. And we just appreciate you, Autumn.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciated being able to participate in those classes, too.
It was a win for all. So thank you again.